Welcome back to the channel. This, as always, is the 101, and a minimal intro needed for this one, as the title pretty much says it all. This is awesome ways to use ladders in WWE 2K16, so let's get right into it. Let's kick this off with the basics. One of the most obvious ways to use a ladder in 2K16 is to use the ladder as a straight up striking weapon. Now, there's a few strikes that can be done in the game, including a standard standing strike, a corner strike, a grounded strike, and of course a running strike. Another way to use the ladder is the ladder grapple. Now technically there is other ladder grapples in a sense that we'll get to shortly, but as far as the standard ladder grapples go, there is only one, which is the shot to the gut and then a shot across the back. So in fairness, a pretty decent looking animation, but hopefully we can get more here in future games of the series. Now, as you probably know, another thing that you can do with the ladder in 2K16 is to place the ladder in one of the four corners. Once placed in the corner, there is a few cool things that can be done. These include a grapple like a German suplex or a powerbomb, a running strike to either the front or to the back, or one of my favourites, the shrunk Irish whip into the ladder, which has a few different pretty cool looking animations. Let's go back to the basics of the next one, because another thing that can be done with the ladder in 2K16 is to simply throw the ladder at your opponent. Now admittedly, most of the time this is not that effective, although as you'll see now, at times this can be fairly effective. So technically this does a small bit of damage to the opponent, and as I say, not always that effective and not a technique you're necessarily going to use that often, but still, given the right circumstances, this can be useful and is yet another way to use the ladder in this year's game. Another of the most obvious ways to use a ladder in a ladder match environment is to climb it and jump off it. Now these are for sure some of the most fun moves to do involving ladders in 2K16, and moves that can be utilised from this position include moves done to a standing opponent and also to a grounded opponent. For example, this awesome looking Phoenix Splash showcased by Seth Rollins. Yet another cool way and effective way to use a ladder is to simply knock your opponent off of one. This can be done when the opponent is mid-climbing, when they've actually reached the top, and also when they've actually reached the top and are standing on top of it. So I'm sure you would agree with me, some pretty painful looking stuff, especially brutal when done near the edge of the ring. Although alternatively, something similar that can be done that's just as, if not more effective than this, is to hit them off with a springboard move or a high flyer move. This again looks really cool and again is pretty painful looking. One of my favourite things to do with ladders in the WWEGames series that not everyone likely knows is possible is to utilise a ladder by running up it. When running up ladders in 2K16, you can hit some form of running strike, a running grapple, although my favourite of the bunch is the ladder to ladder jump, which given the right situations can be super handy and super effective. Now, whilst climbing the ladders and all that crazy stuff is obviously fun, another fun way to use the ladder is to simply do your normal moves or even your finishers on the top of one. Now, I'm not really sure if this causes any extra damage or not, but still kinda satisfying to hit your finisher on a well-positioned ladder, or better yet, to hit your diving finisher with your opponent nicely placed actually on one. There is also some other moves in the game that, whilst technically don't directly use the ladder for damage, can only be done when a ladder is involved. So basically, when your opponent is in the hanger position, some pretty cool moves can be done. These cool moves include a powerbomb, an electric chair drop, a springboard drop kick, and most people's favourite, the pretty epic looking super spear. So we just mentioned one powerbomb that can be done involving the ladder, but there is actually two, and the second one involving the ladder is this one that can be done when your opponent has climbed the ladder and you do a grapple from the behind position. So kinda cool, especially if your chosen superstar is actually someone who uses the powerbomb, say for example a Kevin Nash or a Kevin Owens. And alternatively, also from this position, you can also simply just pull them off and hit your desired move or desired finisher. another awesome way to use the ladder in 2K16 is to put your opponent actually through one, almost like a table. Now from my experience, this generally happens when the ladder is placed in one of the 4 corners, with you normally involving a second ladder. So for example, you could push one ladder over, sending it crashing down and through the second ladder, or you could do some type of move off one ladder and through the other ladder. Again, pretty painful looking stuff, so if you haven't already, then be sure to give this one a go. As we just saw in the previous clip, some of the bigger moves in the game involving ladders do involve coming face to face at the top of one. Now from this position, several different things can be done. You could go back and forth with a series of strikes. You could hit a strong strike, which if hit when dazed, will send your opponent crashing off the ladder. There is of course some more basic grapples like you're now seeing, plus how can we forget ladder finishers that we're going to get to now. So ladder finishers in 2K16 for me remain some of the best moves to do with ladders in the entire game series. Now in order to do a ladder finisher in 2K16, firstly you're going to have the ladder finisher ability, plus in the match itself you're going to need a stored finisher. Now some of the noteworthy ladder finishers in 2K16 include an AA, a rock bottom and an RKO. Now unfortunately we've not had any new ladder finishers added to this series for quite some time now, but you never know, with 2K17 later this year, hopefully a new one or two might be added. But either way, despite that and despite the old animations, ladder finishers in my opinion remain pretty damn awesome nonetheless. And ladder finishers will conclude our awesome ways to use ladders in WWE 2K16. So guys, there we go, a bunch of awesome ways to use ladders in this year's game. Let me know some of your favourites and any I've missed, add a comment in the comment section down below. Lastly, if you have enjoyed today's video, which hopefully you have, a like rating as always would be awesome to see. So yeah, that is it for this one, so stay tuned for more videos like this coming to the channel very, very soon. And until next time, this has been 101, and I will see you all on the next one.